This conference will now be recorded.
So today let us start off with one more new topic, arrays. So whenever we declare a variable int n, how many values we can store in this n variable?
One.
Only one value, right? Hello, Fatima.
Hi.
Yeah. So whenever we declare a variable like int n, how many values we can store in n variable? Only one value. Our requirement is to go with the 10 values. Then we can declare 10 variables. If our requirement is 1000 values, then we cannot go with 1000 variables. So your time goes only for typing 1000 variables, and managing 1000 variables is very complex. So what is our objective? I want to collect 1000 elements. So in that case, we go for arrays. So whenever you want to collect some elements into one single variable, then we think of arrays concept. So you can define an array like an array is a collection of elements. An array is what? It's a collection of elements of similar data type. Stored in continuous memory locations. Stored in what? Continuous memory locations. What is this continuous memory locations? We'll elaborate in the diagram. Then there are two types of arrays. They are one-dimensional arrays and multi-dimensional arrays. So today we discuss one-dimensional array, and in the next class we'll go with multi-dimensional. So let us go with one-dimensional. So whenever you want to collect the elements as a single row, then we go for one-dimensional. And the declaration is, the syntax of declaring one-dimensional array is, we have to go with the data type, means the type of data which you want to collect, and we have to use the array symbol. So whenever we use this square brackets, it is array symbol. Then we have to mention the array name, or we can even say data type, array name, and square bracket after array name, or data type square bracket before array name. So the square bracket can be anywhere, after data type or after array name or before array name. If we use square bracket before data type, then this will go with error. Except before data type, we can use square brackets anywhere. That's the way you can remember. Like example, if we can say int array n string names double salaries. Right? Now, if you declare the array like this, int n of 5, what is going to happen?
N variable five values.
So in the array n, we can store maximum 5 values, right? But this is very, very important in Java. This will go with error in Java. This is valid in C and C++, but in Java, this will go with error. See the syntax? In the syntax, did I mention anything about size here? No. Okay. So mentioning size while declaration goes with what? Error in Java. The reason is, in Java, arrays comes under primitive type or reference type?
Reference
type. And I've given a point, memory allocation for reference type is done during runtime. Memory allocation for reference type is done during runtime using new operator. So why this is error? Since in Java, arrays are reference type. And I'm writing the point once again. In Java, memory allocation for reference data type is done during runtime using new operator. Now let us see how to allocate memory for arrays. Memory allocation. How to allocate memory for arrays? you can say n equal to. If already declared, you can say n equal to. If not declared, we can even declare here also int array n equal to. Use the keyword new, then mention the data type, the type of elements which you want to collect. Now here we can provide the size. So this is the way to provide size in Java when you are allocating memory for arrays. Now let us understand how memory gets allocated using a diagram. Now, if you declare the array like this, int array n equal to new int of 5, in this 5 is size. What is 5 here? It is size. Then, now it's going to allocate memory for you where we can store maximum 5 values. So it's going to allocate memory for array n where we can store maximum 5 values. And all these elements are connected to array n. Now, let us suppose the first element address is 100. I'm assuming first element address is 100. Then can you guess what will be the address of next element?
101.
Not 101.
No, after 8.
How much
So
memory for
108?
integer? No, not 108. How much memory for integer? How many bytes for integer?
4 bytes.
4 bytes, right? So 4 bytes. Each element means 4 bytes means next memory will be 104, 108, 112 and 116. Clear everyone? The meaning of continuous memory locations?
Yes.
Right? It depends on the data type. If array is of type integer, 445 bytes difference. If array is of type short, 22 byte difference. If array is of type double, 88 byte difference. So that depends on the data type of array. Then these array elements are accessed by using indexes. If you understand index, that completes the major part of array. And the index starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Now if you write n of 0 equal to 10. So when we write n of 0 equal to 10, then the 10 element value will go and store into n of 0 index. If we write n of 1 equal to 20, then 20 will go and store into n of 1 index. Similar way, n of 2 equal to 30, n of 4 equal to 40, n of 5, sorry, something missed, n of 3 equal to 40, n of 4 equal to 50. So the elements here is 30, 40, 50. Now in this 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, we call them as elements or values. And elements or values is our wish. And this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we call them as indexes. So we access array elements using indexes. And this 100, 104, we call them as addresses. And just assuming it's starting with 100. So the points here are like array elements are accessed using indexes and starts from 0. The index starts from 0. The next one, array initialization. Array initialization. So the meaning of initialization is like if you declare a variable like int n equal to 10, so the initializing n with value with what 10. Then how to initialize arrays? If you are having an array, how to initialize array is we have to pass the value separated by comma. We have to pass the value separated by comma and enclose it in curly braces. So in between curly braces, just to pass the value separated by comma. This only we call initialization. One more concept here, length member. Length member. The use of length member is used to give the size of the array. Used to give what? The size of the array. Like example, if you say in SOP size equal to n dot length. So what is output we get based on diagram? Size equal to
5.
5. It's going to take what value? 5. So whenever we say n dot length, this n dot length will take what value? The value what you have given while allocating memory. This one. This size it's going to take here. So any questions anyone up to here? Right? Now, let us start writing the programs. Write a program to create an integer array of given size. So we want to allocate memory for array and the type of element is integer of given size, means we accept the array size during runtime and display the elements of the array. Just creating and displaying. So let us understand with the program. Array create.java. Open Eclipse. Right click on project and say new class. Array create with main method. Now import scanner. Create object of scanner. Connect to keyboard. Now first step, accept the array size. So go with the message, enter array size. We'll take a variable size and we'll say start next. Now once we accept the array size from user, now allocate memory for array like this, int array n equal to new int of the given size. If the size is 5, then it's going to allocate memory for 5 elements. If the size is 10, then it's going to allocate memory for 10 elements. Now go with the message to the user, enter size values. Enter size values. So if the size is 5, how the message will come? Enter 5 values. If size is 10, we get message enter 10 values. Then, now how to access array elements? Using indexes. And the index starts with what? 0. And since indexes are sequence like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so to manage sequence, make use of for loop. For int I equal to 0, because index starts with 0, I less than n dot length. N dot length will give the size of the array. Then say I plus plus. Now n of I equal to s dot next int. That's it. So this is the piece of code we write to store the values into array. Let me elaborate this for loop now. We are writing here for int I equal to 0, I less than n dot length, I plus plus. Then say n of I equal to s dot next int. Now based on the diagram, the value of n dot length is 5 here. So initially I is 0, 0 less than 5, I loop condition true. Then come to the statement I equal to what? 0. So n of 0 equal to s dot next int. The first value what we accept from user, that will come and store into n of 0 location. Now the control will go to I plus plus. I will become now 1. 1 less than 5 s. Then comes to the statement n of I means n of 1 equal to s dot next int. The second value will come and store into n of 1 location. Again I plus plus 2. 2 less than 5 s. Then n of 2. Like that n of 3. N of 4. After 4, I plus plus 5, 5 less than 5, condition is false, comes out of loop. So this is the piece of code we write to store the values into array. Got it everyone? Any questions? Now, once we store the value into array, what is our objective? I want just to display the array elements back. So just to go with the message, given array elements, then say same for loop again, for int I equal to 0, I less than n dot length, then I plus plus. Then we can say nsop n of I. That's it. So to store the values into array for loop only, to retrieve the elements from array also for loop. Now run the code. It will ask you array size. I'm giving 5. Then it will go with the message enter 5 values. I'm going with 5 values here. Your wish. Values are your wish. Then once we enter the values, it's going to display the elements back to us. Clear? Any questions?
No.
Now, whatever the for loop we have used here to display the array elements, this for loop we call it as traditional for. Traditional means old. We are having one more for loop added in Java called as enhanced for loop. Even we call it as for each loop. And this loop got added in Java 5 version. In which version we got this loop? Java 5 version. Let us see how to use this enhanced for loop. Go with the message, given array elements using for each, then say now for, same keyword for, then what is the data type of array here? Integer. So we have to write here integer. If array is of type integer, we have to mention here integer. If array is of type double, we should write here double. If array is of type string, we should write here string. So this data type is array data type. Then space, some variable name, colon, array name. Very small syntax. So you need not check for length, the length of the array. You need not increment index. Those all things are not required. Very small syntax. Then what will happen with this for loop? It will pull out one element from array n and stores into x value. Then just to print the value of x here. That's it. Now run the code. It will asking 5 array size. I'll say 6. Enter any 6 values. So it's going to print 2 times. First one with a traditional for, second one with enhanced for. Right? Clear everyone?
Yes.
Now, let us go with one more example code. Write a program to find the sum of given array elements. We want to find what? Sum of given array elements. Means if we take the array with the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, we should add these 5 values. That's the meaning. We should add these values. So already we discussed the sum logic. Whenever you are asked to find sum, take a variable sum and initialize the value to 0. Initialize the value to what? 0. Then what are the value we are accepting into array? That is n of I. What are the value we are accepting into array? N of I. Take that n of I, add it to sum, put the result back again into what? Sum. So this is the logic of sum program. Let us see. Right click on project and say new class. Array sum with main method. Import scanner. Create object of scanner. Connect to keyboard. Okay. Now allocate memory for array. So I'll directly go with the size as 5. Okay. Now go with the message. Take one variable sum as 0. Now go with the message to the user. Enter 5 values. We'll say for int I equal to 0, I less than n dot length, then I plus plus. Then say n of I equal to s dot next date. Now, once we accept the value into n of I, take that n of I, add it to sum, put the result back again into sum. That's it. Put the result back again into sum. Then, once the for loop is completed, then just print the value of sum here. Sum equal to the value of sum. So what is the output of this program? Anyone? If someone gives the same program and asks you what is the output, what answer will you give?
0.
0? No?
Yeah.
If I go with the values like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 only, let us suppose. If I go with the values like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 only, then
100.
what is the output here?
Still
100.
it will be 0.
Still it will
Or
be 0?
no, it's error because we have to provide the curly braces for the for loop.
Right. Yeah, here the answer what you should say? First thing, compile time error. See, in line number 10, under I variable, you can see the error. Why we are getting error? Because in for loop, how many statements are there?
2.
Based on the syntax, you say, based on the program, how many statements are there in this for loop? Based on
3.
this program. Based on this program, how many statements are there in for loop?
1.
1.
We should say 1, right? Because no curly brace. And what is the point I was giving from beginning? If no curly brace, how many statements will it consider? Only one statement. Clear, everyone? If no curly
Yes.
brace, only one statement. And only this is your for loop. And where we have declared I variable inside for loop, right? When you see data type and variable, that is declaration. So we have declared I variable inside for loop, means I can use this I variable only within the for loop. So can I use I variable outside of for loop? No. That's the reason we are getting error here. So this I variable is unable to identify. See the message cannot be resolved to a variable. It's unable to identify. Okay, that's the reason we are getting error. Now let me declare I variable outside now. I'm declaring I variable outside. Now, do you have any error now? No, no errors, right? Now there is no error. Now let me run the code. I'm providing 5 values like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Then what is the output of this program now?
10.
No.
It's the default value of I.
No.
Maybe
Don't think of
error.
default values because there is no default value in these programs.
Okay, so what will be the value of I here?
Yeah, what will be the value of I after for loop? When it comes to this line, what is the value of I after for loop?
4.
6.
No.
Or 5.
5,
5.
5, 5.
5, right? 5. It is 5 because when the condition becomes false, 5 less than 5 false, then what is the value of I after for loop? 5. So what is n of 5 value here?
It's outside the range.
Right, it is outside the range. Then what will happen in Java? It will go with the exception. It will go with what? Exception. Okay, and the message is array index out of bounds, exception. You are accessing array out of index. Okay, so in Java we cannot access an array out of index. Okay, right. Then the solution for this program is simple curly braces. The solution for this program is what? We have to even say sum equal to sum place n of I as a part of for loop only. Then only the number will get added to sum. Now when you run, if I go with 5 values, then the output will be 150. So what is the point to remember? In Java, if we try to access an array element which is out of index, then it will throw an exception. Just remember an exception. The meaning of exception is runtime error. So what is this exception? Everything we'll discuss when we come to exception handling topic. Okay. So clear everyone? Any questions? Let us do one more example program, a good one. write a program to search an element in the given array. So let me explain what is this search program. First of all, if you take an array with 5 values, if you take an array n with 5 values, like 5, 8, 6, 4, 7, so in this array, do you have an element called as 6? In this array, do you have an element 6?
Yes.
Yes. Then we should get the message found. In this array, do you have an element 9?
No.
No. So we have to get the message not found. That's the task here. So let us understand more on this. So let us suppose if you take a variable key equal to 6, means the element whichever you want to search will store it into key variable. Now we have to check whether that key value is present in the array or not. So before we check it, we initially consider the element is not present in the array. We initially consider the element is not present in array. Then how to indicate? We take one boolean variable and we'll say is found as false initially. We'll initially make it as is found as false. Then we start comparing key with each and every element of array like this. For int I equal to 0, I less than n dot length, then I plus plus. Then start comparing. If the value of key equal to n of I, if the value of key equal to n of I, see here. So based on example, what is the key value? 6. Then initially is found is false. Then starts here with loop I equal to 0, 0 less than 5, yes, comes to the if condition. 6 equal to n of 0, is it a true condition? 6 equal to n of 0?
No.
No. Then control comes to I plus plus. I will become now 1. 1 less than 5, yes. Then comes to if condition. 6 equal to n of 1?
No.
No. Again I plus plus, I is now 2. 2 less than 5, yes, comes here. 6 equal to n of 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Now the condition is true. Now you make immediately is found as true. Immediately we'll make is found as what here? True. Means if the element is found in the array, immediately we'll make is found as true. Once you make is found as true, means if the element is present in array, do I need to compare with other elements now?
No.
No.
Then what keyword I should use to come out of loop?
Break.
Very good. We have to use what here? Break. So break will come out of loop. Now once you come out of loop, you check here. If the value of is found has become true, if it has become true, then go with the message found. Now let me take the element as 9 and initial value of is found is false. Comes to loop. I equal to 0, 0 less than 5, yes, starts comparing. 9 equal to n of 0, no. Again I plus plus, I will become now 1. 9 equal to n of 1, no. N of 2, no. N of 3, no. N of 4, no. So the loop is completed. Once the loop is completed, what is the value of is found? As it is false. So if the value of is found is false, then here it comes to else part and we go with the message not found. Clear everyone, the logic of search program?
Yes.
Right? Now let us write the code now. Right click on project and say new class array search with main method. Import java.util. Now create object of scanner. Connect to keyboard. Now allocate memory for array. I'm going with size 5. Then store the values into array. Go with the message enter 5 values. We'll say for int I equal to 0, I less than n dot length, I plus plus. Then say n of I equal to s dot next int. So the array is ready with values. Now you ask for the element which you want to search. So go with the message, enter value to search. We'll say int key equal to s dot next int. Now we have to check whether this key is present in your array or not. So for that, whatever the logic I have explained to you, this logic I want to keep inside a method now. This logic we want to go inside a method. So like yesterday we have done for rhyme program now, similar way. So let us take a method called as search. I'll take a method search. To this search method we'll pass array and the key which you want to search. To this search method you are passing array, n is array and the element which you want to search. So if this method is returning true back to us, so call this method in if condition. If the method is returning true back to us, then we'll go with the message found. If the method is returning false back to us, then we'll go with the message not found. That's it. Now write the method search, which takes 2 arguments. First one is an array and second one is an integer. Now put the logic here. Take a boolean variable is found as false initially. Now start comparing key with each and every element of array like this. For int I equal to 0, I less than n dot length, I plus plus. Start comparing. If the value of key equal to n of I, then immediately we'll make is found as true. Then we come out of loop using break. Once you come out of our loop, just return the value of is found. If the element is present in array, the value of is found will become true. If the element is not present in array, the value of is found will remain as it is false, so we'll return that value. So if the element is found, we'll return true. If not found, we'll return false. And since the search method is returning true or false, the return type is boolean. That's it. Now one more point. Yesterday we discussed, in a static method, if you call any method directly, then the method also should be what here? Static. Yes. A static method can access only other static members. Clear everyone? This code, how to write by using methods?
Yes.
Right. We can even reduce the code. Like we need not require this is found variable at all. If the element is present in array, what I should return? True. Simply say here, return true. If the element is present in array, we return true. And once you come out of for loop, and if you are not returning true, that indicates the element is not present, then directly will return here false. That's it. We can even reduce the code also using methods. Now, run the code. It will ask you 5 values. Go with any 5 values. And if I want to search for 6, it will go with message found. If you run the code again, if you say 5, 8, 6, 4, 7, and if you say 9, it will go with the message not found. Clear everyone? Any questions? Right? Practice this compulsory. Important. Writing the codes using methods are very, very important. So that's about the one-dimensional array. Let me go with an assignment to you. Just to try to do one program. Write a program to find biggest, second biggest, smallest, and second smallest from the given array. Like example, if you take an array with values 5, 8, 6, 4, 7, then the output should come like this. Big equal to 8. second big equal to 7, small equal to 4, second small equal to 5. Clear with the task, all of you?
Yes.
Right. So in the next class, Monday, we'll go with multidimensional arrays. Right. So as we are having some more time, let me just discuss the previous assignments. So some people did not submit the assignments properly. Some of the many of you have done properly, but some of you did not write the codes properly. Some of the things like biggest of given 3 numbers, biggest of given 3 numbers using conditional operator. So let me write this code for you. Very simple. I'm writing only logic directly. If you take 3 numbers like n1, n2 and n3, and out of this we want to know which is big. So simply directly write after accepting numbers, just you have to compare n1 with n2. If n1 is greater than n2, and directly we can use here, and if n1 greater than n3, then if n1 greater than n2 and even n1 greater than n3, then which one we should return? N1. So just to keep question mark and say n1. So if the condition is true, n1 value will go in store into big. Else, colon indicates else, then we have to compare n2 with n3. If n2 greater than n3, then what I should return? N2. Else n3. That's it. Single line of code will do the task. If this condition is true, n1 will go in store into big. If this condition is false, comes to else part and checks the condition again. If this condition is true, n2 value will go in store into big, else n3 will go in store into big. Single line of code will do the task here. Just print the value of big here. That's it. Clear everyone? How to write biggest of 3 using conditional?
Yes.
Right. There. One more program where people are doing mistake is smallest. Smallest of given 10 numbers. So I'm writing only the main method directly. Now take the variables like n, I equal to 1 and small as 0. People are taking what? Small as 0. So when you take small as 0, let us see what are the problems we face. Now take the while loop, while I less than or equal to 10, then accept the number here, enter a number, we'll say n equal to s dot next int. Then we have to compare with small. If the given number is less than previous small, then make your number as small. Make your number as small. That's it. Same like big program. Then to repeat the loop, I plus plus. Once you come out of loop, print the value of small. So when you write the code like this, if you go with all positive numbers, if I go with all positive numbers here, then the value of small will remain 0 only. This condition never becomes true, then the value of small will be always 0. So when you write the code like this code will work only for negative values. Okay, if I start entering negative values, then only the program is going to work. Else the value of small will be 0. So if I want to make my program work for any type of values, positives or negatives, then what you do is, the solution is remove that 0, accept one number outside of loop. Accept one number outside of loop, like s dot next int. After accepting first number, you make that first number as small. Whatever the first number we have accepted, make that first number as small, and remaining 9 numbers you accept inside the loop and start comparing. This is one way of doing the small program. One more way of doing the small program is, you need not accept a number outside. You need not accept a number outside. Repeat the loop for 10 times only. Then after accepting the number, you check here. If the value of I is 1, means first number. If I equal to 1 means you are accepting the first number. Then if I is 1, then assign that n value to small. That's it. This is one more way of writing the small program. Either you can write this way or you can even write this way. Both the meanings are same. Clear everyone? How to write small program?
Yes.
Right? So any questions, anyone? Okay. So if you're having some more questions to be asked, you can ask either in the class or you can even put a mail to me. I'll send you the programs back to you. Okay. Right. And the next class will be on Monday, where I'm going to start off with multidimensional arrays. After that, we go with object-oriented programming. Okay. Thank you all.
Yeah, and the link is also
Yes,
same
sir.
or
Which one?
hello?
No. I'll be sharing the new link with me.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll be sharing that. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.